Hello everyone and welcome to a brand new PlayNow today with a game called The Great Fantasy Struggle, and this is a game that's, well, how should I put this? If you like grand strategy games, you know, the kind that Paradox makes, this may if it's sort of in the same ballpark, sort of. In terms of options, you don't have any, so that's okay. It's running on the Unity engine, so if you enter the game using shift and click, you'll run the options. So let's go to new game. The basic idea is as follows. There are two factions. There's the Great Demon of Darkness and the Saruman. I guess you could say Gandalf because he's supposed to not be evil. Well, technically, Saruman was never evil. Saruman the White was not evil. Saruman of many colors, he was a bastard. So take that in mind. I've not been able to play this game all that much to actually unlock other difficulty levels because of, the game has some issues and I'll get into that in a second. On the easiest difficulty, your main objective is always the same, regardless of difficulty. You will have to conquer the land, or have more population than your opponent by by the 50th decade. You're gonna have to destroy your opponent or capture their. Destroy in the sense that limit their influence. You're gonna have to get more influence than your opponent overall, or capture their homeland. And apart from that, you also have these objectives, which are build a city. You have to completely build your main city. You only have one city, from what I've seen so far, and it does take quite a while to build up. If you do that, you unlock medium. Which if you get 50 population, then you unlock hard, which is the toughest. So let's begin with the wizard. They're essentially the exact same faction, only... Well, actually, I'm going to show you exactly what the difference is. Once I have no idea why it's loading so much. So when you play as the demon, you start in this area, and the interface is flipped, and there's a bit of brilliance there, because apart from your portrait being switched here and this being switched there and you being the demon, you also notice that there is this black line, this gray one, and this white one. Black is the influence of the demon over a region, whereas mine, as the wizard, is white. The gray is just unclaimed influence. And these bars, these are the threshold beyond which you are capable of peacefully capturing a region. So as a wizard, my threshold is this one, and as a demon, it's this one. So the interface is actually made it's actually kind of nice. It works in that way. The morale, however, always is the same. It doesn't change directions. And morale is a bit weird. Actually, the game in general is a bit weird. The developer recommends that you read the manual and the quick play guide before getting into it. And you kind of have to, because it does a very incredibly poor job at explaining itself. Also, doesn't have support for the escape key for some reason if you want to go out of the only two menus that it has. This is the build menu, and this is the statistics menu. I'm going to get back to the build menu soon. Here you see all your stuff. You can sort them by scroll them. You can sort them by population, by the morale level. The lower the morale, the closer to war that region is, depending on what influences there are. And this is by the influence. So, why did I say that it's recommended to read the manual? For example, if we were to go into the build thing, you may say, oh, Coliseum, can I build it? Okay, no, I can't build. Can I build this one? No, I can't build. This one? No. Okay, that's white. Can I build that one? No, I can't build it in. Now you have to click on the ground under it because you're going to have to first build districts. Each district allows you to build buildings on top of them. But first you have to actually build 3 districts. Say this, then this, and then you unlock this one after you build all these, and then you unlock this one after you build all these, and so on, so on, so on, so on. What you may not notice here is that, actually what you don't see here is the amount of gold you have at your disposal. It's not indicated anywhere. It just tells you what the cost of the buildings is and what they'll do. For example, this will give me +3 influence in all regions. It will make me more popular. Can I build this one? I can only build the buildings in a very, very specific order. Or I can build this one. I actually can't. I'm gonna have to build this one first. But let's build this as well. Now let's go back. So we started out with the 520 gold, and now we have 375. You may think to yourself, wait a minute, but these buildings, they're so cheap. Why wouldn't you just build them all? Well, here's the thing. For a reason that I cannot understand, the game never explains, the manual never... I don't even remember if it's in the manual per se. I know it was in the quick start guide, but you can never go below 200 gold or above 700. It's never explained why. So when you're first starting out, you may think to yourself, okay, I have enough money, I'm just gonna do that. And you also these the armies, I'm gonna get to them. And then you realize, I have 200 gold, but I can build this. Okay, I'm just gonna send my armies to help fight some war. I'm gonna send missionaries to help convert a region. But I can't. Why? Is the game broken? No. Well, I have enough gold. It's 200. Why I cannot save things? Well, it's because 200 is actually 0. It's that simple. 200 is 0. It's the kind of little tiny thing that will drive you insane. And you may say, well, just read the manual. That's what the developer said. Yeah, but at the same time, we're not living in the 80s anymore where we can't fit tooltips into the game. Or, you know, actual accurate countries. You have a tooltip. It tells you Wizard Gold. It could also tell you by how much it increased in the last quarter, I guess. Because it's like this is the decades, this is the years, and this is the months. They actually have very nice icons that remind me a bit of ye old King of Dragon Pass. And this also shows you your treasury. The number of lines indicates how much it has increased by, which is usually your population plus a certain random percentage. I did read the manual, it's just that the game is kind of confusing. And it gets a bit more confusing now. Well, there are two ways to capture a region. For example, this one's probably going to go into war in a second because that's usually what it does at the first turn. Let's actually start the timer again. And this is probably going to go into a war now, I guess. No, it hasn't. Okay, yeah, war started. The war started. So, building in, killed. Yeah. See, I'm on pause now, but this keeps scrolling. So, I'm going to have to press here to go back one instead of actually just pressing on the thing. Okay, tornado ruined dozens of buildings and killed many locals. Morale and the cold mountains of cold. So that thing dropped morale, which is okay. I don't have anybody there. It's just a guy. But a war started here. Now, a war can start if the morale is really, really low. And if the enemy's influence is lower than mine, the enemy can start a war then, or mine is higher than theirs, and I can start a war then. In which case, I think that here I started a war. I'm guessing I'm going to send some army there. These guys will fight. I'm not exactly sure by what the statistics, the back and forth is, because it never tells you. This entire thing here with the pop-ups, this is one of the worst things I've ever seen because, well, there's no speed setting on a game. It's not like your Paradox Grand Strategy where you can set the speed to be as slow as you want it to or as fast as you want it to. It goes at constant speed, and that means that this will always be behind. If I press pause, odds are 2 or 3 will pop up depending on how much time I spent on paused. So it's kind of hard to actually get a accurate real-time view of what's happening in the world. I'm going to send some guys here and capture this thing. The more of these guys you have, the more effective actions like increase influence, which costs 2 gold will be, or increase morale. Now, by increasing morale here, I just shot myself in the foot because to peacefully capture something, as far as I've read from the manual, morale needs to be here. So you need to be almost at the level of the enemy being able to declare war on you in a second to capture something if it's a neutral territory. So if I want to stop the enemy from actually capturing something like this graveyard, I'm gonna have to keep their morale up, meaning that even if I increase my influence, if their morale is still high, I will not be able to capture this place at all. So I'm shooting myself in the foot a bit because I'm building a resistance against both the enemy and myself. The the locals will not be in any way grateful to me for increasing their morale, and I think that's a bit backwards. I honestly think they should have gone with wizard needs high morale to capture something, and demon needs low morale, because then the demon would be more, prone towards war, and the good guys would be more prone towards peace. But reading from the manual, it's the same. And actually, both factions, they're exactly identical. There's no difference between them. And maybe if this was a multiplayer thing, it would have made a bit more sense for them to be identical, because then each player would be playing like the same game. It would be like chess, sort of, but it's not. It's kind of annoying. Also, you may see creatures here, like local population, like the undead, like some innkeeper guys, some elves, different elves, different color elves, other different color air elves, some giants. These are matter. Well, their number matter, because the number indicates exactly how much population you will get. But nothing else matters. They don't have any sort of bonuses. They don't have any sort of influence on anything that you can do or gain. And actually, even your buildings here, they all just give influence. None of them give like any statistics to your units, to your soldiers. For example, Merchant Guild doesn't give you money, just influence. Light Academy doesn't give you anything. Hero School, nothing. Sun Observatory, nothing. Artifact Shop, Scroll Shop, Shrine. There was a Fighter Guild, Training Gap. Okay, fighters and archers train here their skills to participate in tournament. I don't think English was their first language. High Knight Palkutis is the main person who is responsible for hire and train of new. Oh god, you guys, the developers, you need the script to tighten up a bit. It's not exactly grammatically correct, and this is coming from somebody that can't speak properly. So it's bonkers. Nasrik is but fair teacher that is proven by the great amount of skillful warriors trained by him. Okay, yeah. None of these actually give you anything other than influence, and some of them will give you influence in good places. Good places meaning places that you have already a high influence in. Places that are sort of under your tutelage. For example, this place. Well, this is mine already, but see, if it has a gold thing, a white thing, I mean, it's under your influence. If it has a neutral one, no color, there it's neutral. If it has a black one, it's in the demon's interest. Now, this region right now I think it is under their control, but we've started a war here, so I pretty much just click here and I guess hope that something happens. They've said that war is the slow path to victory, and I do not doubt it. I think they are correct. Just gonna increase my influence here, and I should probably have sent some of these guys here. Yes, Giant Tundra. Yeah, this is under my control, sort of. Actually, this is under my control, but why can't I? Oh, I think if I already captured it, I'm guessing I've already captured it because this is grayed out. But there's a war going on, so yeah, there's a war going on, so I don't really have much to do other than protect it right now. So let's see if I can actually win this war and increase my influence to the point where I can drive back the enemy's influence. And this is kind of what you do throughout the entire game. There's no not really what you would call tactics or strategy. It's mostly pressing space, clicking on all the things, unpressing space, and then repeating the process once you have enough money. It's not all that engaging. It's a concept that could work. I absolutely know it could work. There was a game. The last game I made a video about on GaminGHD was Legend of Kalasia, I believe. I think it had an obscene word in Romanian on its main menu or the main map. It was actually quite funny. And that game had a similar idea of conquering territories in such a manner, but there were 4 factions and each of them was different. And one thing don't remember exactly. I don't think that game, Legend of Galaxia, had a peaceful method to conquer territories. This one does. It's just kind of slow and kind of agonizing and kind of the. And I'm very much not in favor of the. It's not what you call a really engaging, thrilling, or even deep game. Like I get games like these, like grand strategies, can be downright boring if they don't resonate. Oh, they got it. How did they get it? They got it through war. Even though I have like super duper maximum influence. Did that thing show up until battle here? Force the local inhabitants to take the side of darkness. The locations now belongs to. Okay. So I basically lost it completely. Like within an instant. See, it's now I have to drop. I still have the most influence here, like I have gigantic influence, but I can't send any more soldiers because now it's theirs. Even though I have the most, now I have to drop the morale. Yeah, I got this one for some reason. How? I sent the same amount of soldiers everywhere. It's mine now. Let's see, rebels enforcement. It needs a bit more feedback. It needs a lot more feedback. But as getting back to what I was saying about grand strategy games, they may not resonate with everybody, but the people that it does resonate with will always enjoy a grand strategy game because of their complexity, their depth. This one doesn't have any. This is all it is. This menu and the other one. That's all it is. There's nothing more to it. It's a linear progression, then hope that you get to do the right thing when you have to do the thing. See, why can't I peacefully convert these guys? I mean, their morale is high, I'm the most influential. I have to drop their morale, get them to hate me basically, but still have the most influence in the region. Flip it that way and then incur more war, because if I do flip it, I'll probably incur more war unless flipping it will get the morale back to 100%. Okay, I'm gonna try and just drop their morale so I can start another war, which is a slow agonizing process. You'd think having 5 of these guys here would mean something, especially when the enemy has only 1 guy. But it doesn't really. You can only do 1 such action per month with the missionaries and the influencing morale and influence. It's kind of annoying. The whole game's kind of annoying. I honestly just recommend that you go and try Legend of Galaxia. Legend of Galaxia is 15 euros. This one's only 10. I'm not sure if it's worth that then. It's just... The music is kind of nice, but it just doesn't really do much. Just click and click and click and click and click and just... You can't even say like, I don't know, you can't even automate actions, which that would have been a nice thing. You know, you do have a lot of regions. You have regions within regions actually, but you don't really do much there. Oh, they capture a Cyclops thing, ruins. Has a month pass? Yes, it has. Less morale. Something about goblins. Probably start a war here soon. Come on, come on. More influence. Less morale. Yeah. It's... I wouldn't recommend it. The art is nice. It never hurts to have more fantasy grand strategy games. I know we don't have enough of them. Paradox you totally get on building some. I mean, they've made a space one. Why not a fantasy one? Just imagine the kind of insane stuff they could do if they... Hey, they could technically make it in the Age of Wonders. Actually, Maybe Age of Wonders would more likely they would make it in the Majesty setting. I know that the former CEO really loved the Majesty setting. We probably do it in there. Also, they're making an RPG. They said. Well, technically, we know they're making RPGs because they've bought White Wolf and decided that they're gonna make a follow-up to Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. But if you've seen the Dead Games No One Played episode about Rune Master, you know what I'm talking about. That they were gonna make an RPG, like Internal Studio was gonna make one, and then they didn't because they couldn't make a good one. That's not gonna change. I mean, they're not gonna. The Internal Studio will not make an RPG, but they're making an RPG. Oh, something happened there. Is it war? No, I think they. Oh, one of their guys died, so I'm. Aha! Now I've captured it. See, that was counterintuitive. At least now I have more population than the enemy does. And I got an achievement for it. I got the achievement of capture any local by peace. Yeah. And this is the fast method. Jesus. And I have to do this for enough regions to beat out the enemy. My god. This game's gonna be boring in 10 minutes. It's already been 20 and I'm bored out of my skull. Okay, I played a bit of an hour before this, but kind of bored out of my skull already. There's just no depth to it. They're all the same. Everything's the exact same, and it's at least if the regions gave me something. I remember the huge campaign map that Warlords Battlecry 2 had. Each region you capture gave you something, gave you a bonus something, gave you unique units. It gave you something. This doesn't. There's potential here. They just have to make it better. Like, add stuff to it, enhance it, increase it. Put effort in there, because you've already made the thing that most people can't do, which is, you know, make something that works. And this game works. It works flawlessly. There's no issue technically wrong with it. That's rare. They've succeeded at that, but not at the gameplay, which is the easier part to at least plan out. Its implementation probably wouldn't be incredibly difficult because they've already done the hard work. Just add, I don't know, this gives me more food which lets me train more soldiers. Just add a food here. And I don't know, for the demon, what demons eat? Blood. Yes, the blood. Then you take the blood from some of the regions and stuff, and some asymmetry would not hurt at all. They want to take Dragon's Mountain? Well, tough luck. Tough noogies. Well, that's it for the play now of the Great Fantasy Struggle. It's on Steam right now for the price of €10. I would more likely recommend Legend of Colossia. That one also has multiplayer, and it's a bit more complicated and deeper. This one, not so much. Goodbye.